Well, the embargo on reviews for the Marvels ended yesterday, and as such, Disney had to face the music, and boy, was it glorious. I talked about this a little bit with the live stream I did with the Common Nerd, but we're going to get into it a bit more. So welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and that's right, we're going to go over the review scores, as well as what the media is saying about the Marvels, or more importantly, what they're not saying. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button before we get into it. I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and we're just barely over 200 away. I think we can do this, but let's get to what you guys came for here. You want to see me trash talk Marvel, Brie Larson, the whole nine? I got you covered, baby birds. Let's get into it. We're going to go ahead and start off on Rotten Tomatoes because, oh, would you look at that, a rotten score. Did you guys think you would see this? Like, this has to be a surprise. The critics, the actual critics, giving the Marvels rotten. I couldn't believe it. Now, to be fair, by the time you're seeing this, tomorrow, who knows, maybe it won't be rotten anymore. This number has been climbing. It started off as low as 25%. I wish I had been smart enough to screen cap it, but I did not. Alas, it then rose. It got to about 54%, then 55%, and now here we are looking at 59%. However, don't let this number fool you. That's not the true story because, oh, look, that's all critics. Well, let's take a look at top critics, the individuals that Rotten Tomatoes says is so far above the rest of us. They're actually paid by these shill media outlets to, just suck off everything released by Disney Marvel, especially if it's got any sort of, diversity or inclusion, anything with all those buzzwords that we get so tired of hearing. Oh, the number got lower. Well, that's interesting. Why would the number go lower unless maybe these 38 top critics have stopped getting their Disney goodie bags from the House of Mouse and are now able to be open and honest? Maybe the information about that third-party firm paying individuals for good reviews has now come full circle and we're getting to see some actual honest reporting. I can't wait till we get the audience score on this, but is there really even going to be an audience score? Let's hop over to my X for a moment here. This is a screenshot I posted. This is for the Friday night, 8 o'clock p.m. numbers at my local cinema. One of my many local cinemas, being living in a city and whatnot. But look at this. You're telling me at 8 o'clock on a Friday, this is the best you got in terms of your sales, in terms of the seating? Like this is not very good. And look, there's 4:30, 6:27, 7:48. I chose 8 o'clock for this because I figured, by that point, everyone's off work, kids are done with school, there's no homework, Saturday's the next day, so people are off work and school so they can stay out late. This is an Alamo Draft House, so there's going to be dinner and drinks involved, so I figured that 8:20 was the perfect time. Now, you could say maybe the 2D digital has something to do with it, Leon, you should check 3D numbers. I'll be honest, it didn't even occur to me until I was sitting here recording this, because I didn't notice I checked the 2D digital until I'm recording this, but the point is, do you think it's going to be that much different? People aren't stoked for this. No one really cares about this film. If this was 5 years ago, and we were talking about, even before Endgame, or really after Endgame, we were saying, the Spider-Man No Way Home, or Doctor Strange, these seats would have been packed, but here we are, and it's barely a dent at 8:20 p.m. on a Friday night. Yeah, I believe the critics for once. I'm actually in the boat that says, yeah, the critics are probably right. If anything, 42%, that might be a bit too high. But look, I'm just glad that we actually are seeing critics go out of their way to, be honest, tell the truth. Let's look at a few of these criticisms, shall we? The Marvels is a rocky ride that feels crowded by MCU compromises, which undermines the star power of its cast and talents of its director. The director is not talented. She has done one indie film before this that got a moderate success at film festivals. I don't know what you would call that talent, and even then, the director doesn't actually direct these Marvel projects, but fair enough. I'm glad you at least got it as a rotten score, Christy Punchko. Oh, let's see. We got, this extraordinarily untidy film was recalled for reshoots earlier in the year and shows, poorly edited, difficult to follow. The Marvels is barely in a releasable state. Imagine thinking that a Marvel film is difficult to follow. 9 times out of 10, a 12-year-old with Downs can follow a Marvel movie because they're just that stupid and simple. But this one is difficult to follow. Not because it's so over-the-top, well-written Nolan style where you have to actually use your brain, but the opposite. It's so mind-numbingly dumb you can't wrap your head around how people are able to follow this. Has this infectious optimism. Imani Vellani has this infectious optimism. The rest of the movie feels like an exercise in complacency and a testament to the fact that the MCU needs to take a break. Hey, Jeremy Jahns. Hey, I didn't realize that. Jeremy Jahns. One of the, in my opinion, one of the most honest reviewers on YouTube. This individual, he goes out of his way to keep things as apolitical. He's not like me. You know that I'm going to come in with my bias of, the anti-woke, anti-Disney side of things. Look, I'm going to be honest about it. At least you get that from me. You get the fact that I'm going to let you guys know I would love for Disney to be good again. I I would love for Marvel to be good again, but we know we're going to get nothing but agenda-driven bogus in these recent Marvel, Disney, Star Wars, whatever sort of films. Jeremy Jahns, on the other hand, very down-the-middle apolitical individual who is, in my opinion, kind of too nice to Marvel films, even outside of the political ideologies, and even he is like, yeah, the rest of this movie, exercise in complacency. Can't wait to watch his video on that. But look, the point is, we're seeing what we need to see. The fact that the critics are calling this movie rotten. What we're not seeing is, how is the media reacting? Well, one of two ways. They're either not talking about it at all, such as this article about, whoops, right here, the Marvel's Goose takes over the Las Vegas Sphere. Alright, I don't think anyone cares about that. What about this? Oh wait, the Marvels to take over Las Vegas Sphere. That's strange. All right, what about this one? Goose from the Marvels appears in the Las Vegas Sphere. Okay, I'm starting to sense a pattern here. Surely comicbook.com. Oh, the Marvels Goose takes over the Las Vegas Sphere. Is there any actual news about the movie itself? Does anyone want to report on the film? Let's take a look. What's Deadline got to say? The Marvels with a $140 million global opening, not expected to be marvelous at the weekend box office. $140 million? That sounds pretty high. I thought it was tracking for 50 to 75 million. Oh, look at this. Global opening. Movies never do that. Whenever you do reporting for opening weekend, it's always domestic. They're throwing this 140 million global number out there because they want you to think it's bigger than it is. If you see 50 million, 75 million, 45 million, whatever, no matter what, you know it's abysmally low. However, by just flipping it to global opening, they can throw out this 3-digit number, and all of a sudden, things seem, oh, hey, 140 million opening, without you thinking about the fact that this is global instead of domestic, which is what they usually tout. So, it's a very easy way to sort of trick your mind, trick the words, to make you think this movie is bigger than it is, that more people are interested in it, that Disney and Marvel aren't on their deathbed. But, I just want to make sure that we point out, it is the global opening, which is still absolutely abysmal. But beyond that, no one still seems to be being honest about this film. If you go to Google News, which I know, you guys should never use Google, they're not real news, they've got some very curated search results, they're going to tell you a very, a slanted opinion. That being said, let's say you go to, search for topics, location, sources, and you put the Marvels as your topic. Alright, the Marvels shows right here, the Deadline article about them using global opening, so we've got some foolery afoot with people trying to sway hearts and minds with inaccurate reporting. But, okay, is the Marvels worth seeing this weekend? How reviews are dramatically divided over Marvel's problem plagued blockbuster. Are they? Are they really divided? I mean, yeah, you see some freshes in there, but I would say that 59% and 42%, it's not all that divided. In fact, that's a consensus that this movie sort of blows. But you want to say that it's divisive because if something's divisive, that means you'll take interest in it. Well, I want to know what my opinion's going to be. What side am I going to take? If it's so divisive, I want to see what side of it I'll be on. So by calling it, by saying the reviews are divided, it makes you think, okay, it could go either way, and therefore it's more likely to drum up interest. If it just said, oh, everyone hates the Marvels, well then why would you be interested in seeing the movie? If everyone hates it, you probably would as well. There's a consensus. Consensus, whether it's positive or negative, breeds people to just agree. However, if you say something's divisive, all of a sudden there's nothing to agree with. You need to take a side, and to take that side, you have to actually see the film for yourself. Once again, very interesting trick of the words they're using here. The New York Times, what to know about the Marvels and its tumultuous backstory. Now, this could just be me being a bit jaded, but it sounds like they're trying to, get you to pity watch the movie, like, hey, it's had a tumultuous backstory, it was a hard road to get here. Go see the movie because it deserves to be seen after everything it's gone through to even make it to theaters, after being delayed 5 times and being the pet project of an indie director that's, let's be real, isn't the actual director and only has like one other minor credit to her name. No, I don't want the New York Times giving me a pity article. No one wanted this movie, no one asked for this movie, and the box office is going to show. Even the critics are showing it. What about Giant Freaking Robots. The Marvels is doing worse than DC's most embarrassing flops. You know what? That's probably the most honest headline thus far. The Marvels is doing worse than DC's most embarrassing flops. And Giant Freaking Robot, they ain't exactly a right-leaning, journalistic outlet. I've used them as a source on my channel plenty of times before, and I'm not a big fan of the way they cover things. But from headlines alone, I gotta go with it. So what about here? IGN just has the Marvels review. Spoiler alert, they gave it an 8. And And yeah, I don't think it should have gotten an 8. Nobody does, but this is IGN, Idiot Gaming News, the individuals that gave the Cowboy Bebop live-action adaptation a 7, while One Piece got a 6. So I don't think anyone should take IGN any sort of seriously. What about the AV Club? The Marvels Review. Brie Larson returns in mixed bag sequel. I can appreciate a title like that, AV Club. It's 100% accurate. Brie Larson does in fact return, and it's a mixed bag sequel. Well, again, if we want to go by what they're saying up here that is divisive, I don't know that it's divisive, but we read that Jeremy John's review, and he said that Miss Marvel, the actress that plays Miss Marvel, was endearing and everything else was awful. So you know what? That's a pretty mixed bag. It's a mixed bag of bad things and then one good thing, one golden buttered popcorn flavor, or Bertie Bott's every flavor bean. So, the Marvels delivers a cosmic punch of fun and avenging action. Oh, hold on now, Gizmodo. That sounds incredibly positive. I didn't see very many positive reviews at all. Remember, 43% from the top critics. The Marvels Review, this is how it's done. This is how it's done? Like, what's done? How you sink a multi-billion-dollar conglomeration that has spent the last 15 years building up series after series, movie after movie, sequel after sequel, only for it to culminate in the crashing and burning of every dollar you spent to get to this point? A decade and a half? People who were born when Iron Man came out are now in high school, and this is how you get it done? The series is destroyed, and I'm not saying the Marvels did that single-handedly, of course not. It's been bad decision after bad decision, snowball effect rolling downhill from the up-top execs at Disney and Marvel, but still, what do you mean this is how it's done? There is no positive way to say this is how it's done in regards to the Marvels. Also, and this is just a me thing, it bothers me when, it's like after the colon, that T right there, that should be capitalized. I know that probably that's not accurate, but I don't know, it just looks bad. The Marvels final trailer has Tessa Thompson cameos. Oh, this is from yesterday, so I'm not worried about the trailers. The Marvel's final trailer. Okay, so these are about the trailers. Weekend box office forecast, and then it goes on to talk. So, yeah, the big ones are these right here. This is how it's being portrayed. Look at these first 8 articles when you type in the Marvels. Again, not counting when I typed in the Marvels, the first thing I got was all these articles about, Goose taking over the sphere. No one cares about Goose taking over the sphere, but there you have it. I want to make sure that, we stop this video on this nice 59% marker here before we cut back to my ugly mug. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to consider this a win. When you look at these review scores and you see that they are as low as they are, even if they climb back up, we got the documentation right here that at one point, very many top critics had this movie sitting at a nice crisp 43% or 47%, whatever it was. Either way, the shill media has turned on Disney. We can no longer be ignored. We can no longer be called misogynistic, bigoted incels, or whatever it is that they want to call us, all these ridiculous names, simply for wanting our superhero movies to be of quality. Things that we grew up reading and enjoying and loving and actually spending our hard-earned money on. Things that were supposed to be for us, the fans. We can no longer be called these toxic man babies, and there be any validity to it when you see that even the shill media critics are starting to agree with us. All we do is see the writing on the wall, baby. Eventually, it will come from the normies as well. So, yeah, I think we should take this as a win. The movie's gonna tank. They're gonna try and find a way to spin it as if it was a positive thing, as if it made its budget back or made a profit. We all know that's not the case. $230 million budget. I'm sorry, you ain't making the $650 to $750 million you need worldwide for it to be considered a profit. You're maybe getting $150 million opening weekend globally. I'm sorry, you ain't getting to no $650 to $750 million. You're topping out at maybe 350 globally. That's if you're being, feeling real lucky and I'm getting real generous. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X where you can find me at BoltTheWord. And please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. Not always throwing a fit about the woke propaganda that comes from Marvel and Disney. However, whenever that does come about, I gotta cover it. But beyond that, I cover anime, movies, Magic the Gathering, video games, you name it. Hit me up on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon. And remember that it's all here in the Nerdosphere. And this has been Words of Paradise.